Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and finish putting these cylinder heads back together. Almost forgot to push the record button. So these are just like behind the scene videos. Matt's gonna do an assembly video, make it all pretty and stuff, but this is all the stuff you sort of see behind the scenes, you know, up to the build, you know, getting everything ready and ready to assemble out of the box, look at everything, make sure everything's right, and then we'll assemble it. So I sent the rods out for the motor and got those back. Got new, there we go. Got some new little end bushings in there and got them resized. Those came out really nice. Got our crank back. They just polished that up. It was standard still, so that's good. And these are cylinder heads that A&A donated to the project. We got these cleaned up. We equalized the chambers on them, and I did do a valve job and I ported them. I did a valve job. I did a top cut on the seat and blended it to the floor of the chamber. When you get them from the factory, they have a seat on them, and the seat, or they have a seat cut on them, a valve seat cut on them, but the valve seat itself is sort of rough, you know, it's not blended into the floor of the chamber or any of that stuff. And if you want that stuff done, you can just buy the CNC cylinder head, you know, get the head that's been CNC ported. My thought process on heads is the better you make the cylinder head, the better the motor will run at any given lift number. So if you have limited amount of lift to work with, you can only open the valve so much. You want the head to flow as much as you can possibly get it to flow. That's the whole idea behind having a nice cylinder head. You can open the valve a lot less. It's a lot easier on your valve train, and you can make the same power that you would make if you were opening the valve a lot further with a head that wasn't as superior. So that's why I always try to make the cylinder head work really good. The cylinder head, a lot of people say the camshaft's the heart of the motor, but the cylinder heads, this is what makes the pump breathe. You know, the valve gets opened by the cam. That determines how far it's open and how long, but it's got to be able to do work when the valve's open. So we try to make the chambers all even. That's for compression, obviously. It's part of the blueprinting process. And then we try to blend the floor down to the seat so we have good flow when the valve opens up and we don't have any roughness from the seat transition to the floor of the chamber is what we try to do. So anyway, we got a little AMSOIL on the valve stems here. Got those lubed up. I usually just put a little oil on the stems. We got our valves all relapped in. Like I said, we cut all the seats, so everything's done. The spring pressure is a little on the low side. I'd like to have, you know, 5 more pounds of spring, but I don't want to give up the travel that I'm gonna lose to put a shim underneath it. So we're gonna go with 115 on the seat, which is not too bad. This cam doesn't have a lot of lift on it, and it's very mellow on the duration, so it's not a seat slapper. So I'm gonna put a little red and tacky in the valve grooves. You know, I like to do that. Any kind of assembly lube, some sort of grease, so you don't have to chase your keepers when you're trying to get them in there. You know, this is just hold them in place for you, give you that third hand. And I don't recommend putting grease on the valve itself where it's going to contact the guide. All you're doing is put it in the grooves so your keepers don't move around when you're trying to get the spring and retainer in place. And you don't get your fingers pinched in between the retainer and the groove. That's no good. No bueno when the skin comes off. So let's lid this up. There we go. And we'll go ahead and do this and try to make it look as painless as possible. Oh, the other thing we did on these cylinder heads, let me show you real quick. Almost forgot. Doop, doop, doop. I did machine the tops of the valve guides down so we have proper clearance between the retainer and the guide. Okay? And this is the tool we use to do that. I know in the comment section there's like, hey man, how do you do that? So you get one of these, you can run over to Gene Berg and check his catalog out. You can get these online on the Samba. Sometimes they're in the new part section, the high performance part section. Type in Berg parts and this stuff will usually pop up. But this side will cut for double valve springs and this side will machine the top of the guide down. Oop, hope I'm getting that in there. Cut the top of the guide down. And you want to make sure you do that. And you want to make sure you have the proper clearance. One good thing about webcam, they're really heavy on the destructions. And not only do they give you the lift and the duration, but they also give you the opening and closings, which are handy. You know, if you want to degree the cam, we're not going to degree the cam, but it's nice to know when the intake valve opens and closes, more so when it opens and closes. But also, give you all the clearance numbers. They want 15 thousandths between the spring coils at max lift. They want 60 thousandths on the intake. They want 80 thousandths on the exhaust. We have valve reliefs. I got our piston cylinders pin fitted today. Just drop the clips on the ground. Pick those up. But anyway, got those bad boys pin fitted. Really sweet. They got a valve relief in them, so we have no piston to valve clearance issues. And did go with a forged piston on this deal just to get the nicer piston set up and the valve reliefs. Piston has more meat on the back of it so you can machine it. So anyway, that's where we're at. Got our grease on there. We got our guides cut down. We have our spring pressure checked. This is what I use to check the spring pressure. Anybody can pick one of these up at Jegs. I don't have a fancy spring machine, drill press spring. You can check your travel. You can check your springs at your installed height. And it's pretty accurate, actually. Probably not accurate enough to do like a triple roller spring on a big block or something, but for Volkswagen it works really good. So anyway, and then this is the installed height gauge. This is what we do to set the spring height. You put this on instead of the spring, and then you get your measurement. All right, so let's reassemble these. Try not to look too weak doing it. Put a little oil on the stems. We put a little grease in the grooves, keeper grooves, and you want to make sure if you're blind like me, make sure you look at the lock's really good. The skinny side goes down, fat at the top, skinny at the bottom. Try to get this in here. I'm a terrible video maker, I know. I know. We got one stuck in there. One fell out. We'll borrow one from this guy and retrieve that one in a minute. See, these can make you look really stupid when you're making a video. But anyway, there you go. They're in the grease now. They're on there really nice. And now we're going to release the tension. Make sure our locks don't go flying. There we go. Now we're going to repeat that 3 more times. Pretty straightforward. I probably need to move up to an air operated valve spring compressor at this point. The old shoulder does not like this. Anyway. The new style single groove valves are, you know, a little bit easier. Newer technology. But this was the way of the land for a long time. He says do have all 8mm stem valves. No 9mm exhaust valve stems, plugging up the exhaust port. So that's nice. Hopefully, being that the valve is a better material, it won't fail and break. And that's initially why they made that valve guide bigger, because they were breaking the stems back when they were trying to use a cast valve. 3-piece valve, you know. The hardened tip on it, and the actual tulip part is stamped on there. It's sort of amazing how a valve's made. That's a whole video in itself there. Anyway, that's that. This is the last one. Shouldn't have any parts left over at this point. It's always a red flag if there's a keeper laying on the bench. So there we go. That's that. That's pretty easy. Did all the fun part earlier. So there you go. We took these apart, I don't know, last Sunday, and actually we took them apart last Sunday. Yeah. Anyway, I got a little bit of time in them. I probably spent more time than I should have. You know, Matt just wants me to put it together out of the box, but you know, just can't do that. So I like to take full advantage of the parts that are, you know, put in front of me. So we try to get every bit of power we can out of them and still make it really reliable. We can get crazy away with the intake port. We just, they are ported all the way through. I just basically cleaned the flashing up, did the bowls, did the combustion chambers, cleaned up the exhaust ports, cleaned all the casting flash off. And those bad boys are ready to go. So I appreciate you guys following along on the Type 4 build for the 914. Go check CT out over there. He was cutting the car in half today. I saw his video this morning, and he's cutting a quarter panel off the 914 this motor's going into. So he likes to get the motor knocked out, you know, out of the way. I think he likes to use the motor for motivation to get the car done. But we're gonna try to do an assembly video for everybody who wants to get that going, and hopefully we can do that video next weekend. I think that's the plan. We'll see how that goes. Everything's looking pretty good now. I got the piston cylinders all prepped up. I got the cylinder heads ready to go now. We got the crankshaft back. I'm waiting for the flywheel. Some reason it didn't get turned, and they're machining that. Got the rods back. So maybe in the next video we'll get the hot plate out and we'll assemble the crankshaft, put the rods on it, put our timing gear on it, and then we'll put that into a bag, and we'll have that assembly ready to go. We have our piston cylinders ready to go. We have our cylinder heads ready to go. and then the next step will be to re-clean the case. It's been sitting around for a little bit. We'll get that cleaned up, and then we'll be assembling. I'll get everything laid out. I still haven't put this 2110 together over here. I need to get busy on that. And yeah, so that's coming up. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for following along. And hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Always helps, you know, we can get some subscribers, getting close to 30,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate it. All you guys watching, hanging in there, even the guys that can't stand me, even when you leave bad comments, you know, at least you watched the video, and that counts. So I always like looking through the comments. I won't say ever answer them. I don't answer them all the time. I am a little dyslexic, so it's a little painful. Autocorrect's never kind, you know. But anyway, that's what's happening here. We got this going on, and trying to concentrate just on this right now. I have other things going on, but we're gonna concentrate on this motor and getting this other motor assembled over here out of the way so I can have the bench. And I think we're moving along. It never seems like it until you start putting it together, right? But anyway, that's where we're at. And thank you again. Until the next time.